In this video, we're going to be working with inverse and determinants, right? So the determinant of a matrix is a number. It's a number associated with a square matrix. This is important. The determinant, we're only going to find that with a square matrix that determines whether or not the matrix has an inverse. That's why it's called determinant, because it's determinant if it does have an inverse. A square matrix has the same amount of rows and columns. So it has 2 by 2 like this one down here, or 3 by 3 and so on. Okay? So for a 2 by 2, and this is important that this is only for the 2 by 2, the determinant denoted as either dt of a, or that is like an absolute value, but technically we're not finding the absolute value as the determinant, right? Is the value of a times d minus b times c. So we're going to multiply the main diagonal minus the other diagonal. So let's see the first one. So again, the determinant of this one, so -4, -2 equals 2, 0 times -2 minus -4 times 1. So that means that this is 0 plus 4. So that means that the determinant here is 4. So number 2, again, we're going to cross multiply. This is called the main diagonal. So it's the one that starts on that first number here. So the main diagonal, so this is 2, -2, -4, -5. So the determinant of that matrix then is going to be 2 times -5 minus -4 times -2. That means that this is -3 minus 8, that equals to -18. Okay, so the next one. So again, we're going to cross multiply, so to find the determinant. So this equals to 5 times 2 minus 5 times 2 equals 10 minus 10 equals 0. Right? The next one, again, so -5, 1, 5, -2 equals to -5 times -2 times -2 minus 5 times 1. So 10 minus 5 equals 5. Okay, so now the inverse matrix is a matrix such that the product of the two matrices is the identity matrix. So the identity matrix means that the main diagonal is 1. All those numbers are 1, and then everything else is 0. So for a 2 by 2, and again, important part here that this is just for a 2 by 2 matrix. We're going to first find the determinant, and if the determinant is not 0, right, then we're going to multiply that determinant times the reciprocal of the determinant times this matrix here. So what we're doing is that my matrix, I'm flipping the main diagonal, and then the other diagonal, I'm changing everything to the opposite. So let's go step by step. Now on this one, I'm going to name this matrix, let's say name it matrix A, right? So the determinant of A equals to 5 times -3 minus 2 times -11. So that means that I got -15 plus 22, and that equals to 7. Okay. Now that I have that determinant and it's not 0, that means that I can find the inverse. So the inverse equals to the reciprocal, so 1/7 times the matrix. Again, this main diagonal, so the 5 and -3, I'm going to flip them, so -3, and then the 5 is going to go down there, and then the other diagonal, I'm changing everything to the opposite. And now I'm just going to multiply. This is a review of a scalar multiplication that I'm multiplying that number times everything inside. So once again, I need 3/7, -2/7, 11/7, and 5/7. And that is my inverse. Right, let's see number 2 here. So again, let's start by finding, let's name it A. The determinant of A equals to 3 times 4 minus 5 times 2. So equals to 12 minus 10 equals to +2. So again, my inverse, I'm going to multiply times 1 over 2, that is the reciprocal of the determinant, and then I'm going to change the 4, the 3, and then -5 and -2. Then I'm going to multiply 4 over 2 minus 5 over 2, -2 over 2, 3 over 2. So that means that this equals to 2, -5 half, -1, and 3 half. Okay, let's see the next one. So number 3. Again, let's start by finding the determinant. So let's start by finding the determinant here. Let's name it A. So 6 times 3 minus 6 times 3. You can see that that one is going to give you 0. Right? So it's going to give you 0. So that means that there's no inverse. Right? Why? Because we cannot find the reciprocal of 0. Reciprocal of 0 is just undefined. Okay. So on this one, again, name it A. Whatever you want to be. Determinant of A. So -7 times 2 minus 6 times -4. So I got -14 plus 24. So that means that this is 10. So my inverse equals to 1 over 10. And again, inside, I'm going to flip the main diagonal, so to -7. And then the other two values, I'm going to change to the opposite. And I'm just going to multiply 2 times 1/10 is 1 over 5. -3 over 5, right? Well, -6 times 1/10, then 4 times 1/10 is 2 over 5. And -7 over 10. And that is my metric. Okay. For a 3 by 3, to find the determinant, look that now we're finding the determinant, we're going to do this following. Right? This is the easiest way that I find to do it. So I'm going to start by my first two columns. I'm going to repeat them down here. So 4, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Okay? Now, I'm going to multiply, cross multiply, same thing that I did earlier. Right? So I'm going to start with this diagonal that I have here. Okay, so I'm going to multiply that one. So that means that I get 4 times -4 times 0. Okay? Then I'm going to choose the second diagonal. So I'm going to go here. 3, -1, -2. So that means that this is plus -3 times -1 times -2. Then I'm going to choose the next diagonal. So my next diagonal is this one here. Okay? So that means that I get plus -5 times -1 times -5. Okay? Now I'm going to go in the other direction. Remember, on determinants 2 by 2, the main diagonal, I multiply it and subtract the other one. So I'm going to do the same now. I'm going to subtract my other diagonal. So I'm going to go here. Okay? So I'm going to choose this diagonal here. And I'm going to subtract that one. So that means that minus -3 times -1 times 0. Okay? Then I'm going to choose the next diagonal here. I'm going to choose my next diagonal right here. So I'm going to multiply this one here. So that means that that is minus 4, -1, -5. And then the last diagonal that I'm going to choose is this one here. And I'm going to subtract that one. So minus -5, -4, -2. Now let's simplify all that, right? So we know that this is 0 because it's involved with multiplication times 0. So that means that I get -3 times -1 times -2 is the same as -6. Then I got -5 times -1 times -5 is the same as -25. Then over here, right here on the black ones, I got -4 minus times -1 times -5. So that means that I got minus 20. And then the last one, I got -5 times 4 times -2. Don't forget that we have that negative down here. So that means that this is going to be positive 40. Right, so once we simplify this is going to be -11. And that's my determinant. The inverse function, once we work on the calculator, we're going to find how to find the inverse matrix here. Okay, so let's see the next one again. I'm going to start by rewriting those first two columns, -4, -5, then -5, -1, 0. Again, let's go in order. So equals 2, and start with this diagonal. So that means that I got -3 times -1 times 1. Right, I'm going to multiply by next diagonal here. So that means that I got plus -5, -2, -5. Then I'm going to multiply the next diagonal here. So that means that I got plus -1 times -4 times 0. Let's cross that one already because we know that it's going to be 0. And now we're going to go on the other direction. So let me go here. This one, don't forget that we're subtracting down. So minus -5, -5 times -4 times 1. Then I'm going to choose my next diagonal, that is this one here. So we got minus -3 times -2 times 0. Again, we can cross that one out already because it has a 0. And then again, minus, and I'm going to choose the next diagonal, that is this one here. So I got -1 times -1 times -5. So that means that I got +3 minus 50, then plus 20. Then this is going to be plus 5. We do have a small mistake here. This should have been -20, right? Because we have negative times negative, that is going to be positive, but we had that minus out here. So that means that I have 3 minus 50 minus 20 plus 5. And that's going to give you -62. And that's it for this video. May the 4th be with you.